Today, we're opening a file on a reality that many of you carry deep inside you. This explainer isn't about some abstract psychological theory. It's about exposing the invisible wounds you might be suffering from right this very second. We're looking into the dark psychology of toxic relationships, trauma bonding, and the subtle, devastating mechanics of emotional abuse. As we walk through this together, you're probably going to feel a painful moment of recognition. But understanding what is happening to you, well, that's the very first step to taking your mind back.
Emotional abuse leaves no bruises. There are no broken bones. There are no visible scars you can just point to. You know, when someone hits you, the world understands the crime immediately. But emotional abuse, it operates entirely in the shadows. And that invisibility is exactly what makes it so incredibly dangerous. It allows the abuse to continue for years, completely hidden in plain sight, while you just slowly lose your sense of self.
Because there's absolutely nothing that shows up in a photograph to convince anyone, even yourself, that something is seriously wrong. Since you can't see the damage in a mirror, you spend years experiencing this intense pain without ever being able to actually name what it is. So what happens? You start to rationalize it. You start to believe that maybe, just maybe, you're making the whole thing up. And that right there is the very first weapon of the abuser, the complete lack of physical evidence.
Control through constant fear. Let's look at how everyday interactions, the simplest moments of your life, are slowly weaponized into a psychological war zone where every little thing you do is under severe, unyielding scrutiny.
Which brings us to sign 1. You're criticized constantly. It feels like nothing you do is ever quite right, doesn't it? The way you fold the laundry, the exact tone of your voice when you say hello, how you chew your food, even how you think and feel. Every single choice you make suddenly becomes evidence of your inadequacy. Now, the difference between constructive criticism and emotional abuse is simple but absolutely devastating. Constructive criticism wants you to grow. Emotional abuse needs you to stay small. The abuser uses this relentless drip of criticism to keep you in a permanent state of self-doubt. Why? Because a person who constantly doubts themselves is remarkably easy to control. Moving on to sign 2. I want you to ask yourself honestly right now, do you calculate their mood before you speak? Do you literally walk on eggshells every single day? Maybe you feel that physical, tight knot in your chest just from hearing their key turn in the door. Before you even utter a word, you're already calculating how they'll respond. Before you act, you're terrified it's going to trigger their anger. You've basically become an absolute expert in reading their micro-expressions, adjusting your entire existence just to keep the peace. If you are doing this, please understand one crucial thing. This is not you being too sensitive. This is hypervigilance. This is the very real, biological nervous system response of someone who has learned through painful repetition that another person's emotional state is wildly unpredictable and potentially dangerous. Listen to me, you should never need a tactical strategy just to speak to someone you love. Sign 3 is perhaps one of the most calculated moves an abuser can make. They isolate you, slowly, systematically. Suddenly, your friends make them uncomfortable. Your family asks too many questions. Make no mistake, this isolation isn't just simple jealousy, it's architecture. It is a carefully designed blueprint meant to completely trap you. The emotional abuser actively removes your external reality by dismantling your support systems. It usually starts small, maybe a sudden unexplained fight right before you're supposed to go see your sister, or a punishing cold withdrawal just because you grabbed a quick coffee with an old friend. They're trying to erase any outside perspective that might point out how poorly you're being treated. And they'll keep doing this until they become the absolute only voice you hear. Once the only person you can talk to is the exact person hurting you, leaving becomes almost impossible. You're essentially living in a prison without walls.
The erasure of reality. Now we're entering the darkest and genuinely most damaging phase of the abuse. This is where the very foundation of your mind is systematically dismantled.
And that brings us to sign 4. Honestly, this is the most invisible and by far the most devastating sign of them all. You are constantly made to feel completely crazy for having entirely normal reactions. When you cry because they insulted you, they just look at you with cold contempt. You react to a blatant lie, and somehow they act like your anger is the real abuse. You express genuine pain. They tell you you're playing the victim. You ask a totally reasonable question, and they call you paranoid. Over time, it works. You stop trusting your own reactions. You start to seriously wonder if you really are the problem.
What you're experiencing here has a name. It's gaslighting. It's the absolute hallmark of narcissistic abuse, and it's the exact glue that secures a trauma bond. By manipulating you into questioning your own sanity, the abuser forces you to literally surrender your perception of reality over to them. Suddenly, your own memory becomes unreliable to you. Your emotions feel disproportionate. You become entirely untethered from your own mind, completely dependent on their version of events.
You are overreacting. You are too sensitive. You are paranoid. Hear those words. Feel that painful recognition. These aren't just complaints. These are precise tools used to dismantle your sanity. Every single time these words are spoken to you, a piece of your reality is chipped away, and it gets replaced by their distorted narrative.
I need you to pause right now and really absorb this truth. Your reactions are normal responses to abnormal treatment. I'm going to say that again because you need to hear it. You are having a normal response to abnormal treatment. The problem is in your sensitivity. The problem is what you are being subjected to behind closed doors. Your mind and your body are screaming, trying to warn you that you are in danger, even if there are absolutely no bruises to prove it.
Which leads right into sign 5. Genuine apologies. They never come. When they hurt you, the pattern is so predictable it's almost clinical. First, it's denial. It never happened. Then comes minimization. It wasn't even that big of a deal. Next is the counterattack. Well, it's actually your fault because of something you did. And finally, if you push hard enough, you get hit with the ultimate insult, the non-apology. A non-apology sounds exactly like this. I'm sorry if you were hurt. Or, I'm sorry you feel that way. Listen, a genuine apology takes responsibility. It actually acknowledges the specific harm caused. It never, ever contains the word if. The complete absence of a real apology is a blaring siren. It's a clear signal that the person causing the harm simply doesn't believe they're responsible for it. And a person who doesn't believe they cause harm has absolutely no reason to ever stop.
Losing your authentic self. This is the quiet, deeply tragic result of prolonged trauma bonding and abuse. You actually begin changing the core of who you are just to survive the relationship.
And this is sign 6. The authentic self, the vibrant person you used to be, takes up space. You used to have opinions. You used to laugh out loud, deeply, freely. You had passions, hobbies, things you loved. But slowly, all those things disappeared. They got replaced by the survival self, a hollowed-out version of you designed purely to generate less conflict. You dropped the hobbies that annoyed them. You stopped seeing the friends they disliked. You basically shrank yourself down to fit into this tiny, suffocating box they allow you to exist in, simply because it requires way less energy and courage to just maintain the peace.
You have to realize, emotional abuse doesn't just damage you. It literally replaces you. If the people who knew you before this relationship wouldn't fully recognize the person you are sitting here today, that is not growth. That is erasure. You are being quietly deleted from your own life.
And finally, sign 7. The most devastating reality of all. You feel entirely, utterly alone, even when they are right there next to you. You're sitting in the same room. You're lying in the same bed in the dark, yet you feel thousands of miles apart. This is a very specific, agonizing kind of loneliness. It's the profound loneliness of being completely unseen by the very person who is supposed to know you best. You aren't lonely because you're alone. You're lonely because the person next to you has never truly seen you. And worse, they don't want to.
Finding hope and strength. Look, if you've recognized yourself in these signs today, I want to gently shift our focus here. The darkness we just walked through is overwhelming, I know. But simply naming it, that is exactly where your power returns. You are not trapped forever, even if the grand architecture of your isolation makes it feel that way right now. Let this truth ground you. Emotional abuse is violently real. The fact that it leaves no visible physical marks doesn't make it less damaging. It makes it vastly more so. But you are not too sensitive. You are not crazy. You are responding accurately to something genuinely wrong in your life. And you have the strength to reclaim the reality that was stolen from you. To understand exactly how these psychological traps are set, you really have to look deeper. You have to step into a world of forbidden psychology, buried history, and the dark truths you were just never taught. That is exactly what we expose here at Dark Archive. We open the files on the manipulative tactics used against you every single day, dragging the invisible right out into the light. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Will you continue to let the invisible define your reality, or are you finally ready to take your mind back? If you're ready to truly understand the dark psychology hidden in plain sight, hit subscribe on Dark Archive.
Every week, we open a new file. The archive is open.